Hello everyone, in this video I am going to explain how to install, run and share your Python script. So let's get started. First thing we need to do is download setup file for Python from python.org. On the date of recording this video, latest version is 3.11.3. This might get updated when you are watching this video. So just download latest version. By default, it will download it for 64-bit Windows, which should be fine for most users. But if you are using 32-bit computer, download 32-bit version from this link. Now just run that installer. Make sure to enable this checkbox, add Python to path. This will allow you to run Python from any location. After installation is complete, open command prompt to check Python installation. Just type Python and press enter. This will display your Python version and launch Python ideally. You can just start typing your Python code here and it will just work. But we are not going to use it this way. We are going for a bit more complex setup to run our Python script. Let's quickly print hello to check if it's working. And it's working fine. So instead of typing one line at a time in command line, we are going to run our Python file using text file. Let me just create simple text file using Notepad. I am naming it sample. I am also changing its extension to .py. Now let's go back to command line. I am typing exit command to exit Python ideally, so we can just use our command prompt in normal mode. Now to run our Python script, we need to enter this command and you can see hello world is printed. In next section, I am going to teach you how to use Visual Studio Code to run our Python script. Let's just download Visual Studio Code first. So same as Python installation, this will download 64-bit version by default. So download 32-bit version if you are using 32-bit computer. If you don't know anything about Visual Studio Code, then let me just explain it in simple terms. Visual Studio Code is like Notepad but for coding. We can call it code editor. You can just use it for almost any language including Python. When you run your installer, make sure to check on this all checkboxes. We are going to need this to open our project in folders. We also have to install Python add-in if we want to use Visual Studio Code for Python. So let's launch Visual Studio Code first. Just click on extension from here and type Python. Choose first one from the list by Microsoft. It's already installed on my computer, but you should be able to see install button here. Just click on it and it should get installed automatically. After Python extension is installed, you can just close Visual Studio Code. We are going back to our sample script. So once you are on script folder, just right click and you should be able to see open with code option. If you are on Windows 11, you might need to click on show more options to see it. So this will open Visual Studio with our current folder as our active directory. Here you can see your Python files on this left side panel. You can just click on it to open it. Now set Python interpreter for Visual Studio Code. Press Ctrl Shift P to open command palette. Here just type Python interpreter. Select your Python with latest version. You might have multiple versions of Python installed on your system. So this step is necessary to specify your Python version for your current code. Now just click on this play button to run your script. You can see your output on this terminal. You can see it's automatically entering this command for us. So we don't have to. Earlier we did same thing in command prompt to run our Python script. Now let me do some minor change in our code, and this time I am pressing F5 key. Choose first option and it should run our script in active file. Let me add some more code here. Pressing F5 again, and it's working fine. Notice that you don't have to do anything else this time, only need to press F5. In next section, I will show you how to create your first Python program. Let me just go back to our files in side panel. So I did spend a lot of time thinking about what to show you in this part. I want to show something that everyone can use in their daily routine, something practical. So most of programs you are going to create can be divided into three parts. First part will be getting input from user. Second part will be doing your calculation using that input, and the third part will be display your calculated results. For just example, I am going to make program to calculate area of rectangle here. So input will be length and width, and we are calculating area of rectangle. In the last part, we are just printing calculated area. Notice how our entire program is divided into three parts here. Let me quickly run this code by pressing F5, and you can see final output in the terminal. Let me change some input and run it once again, and it's working perfectly. Now let's take this one step further. Instead of printing our output to terminal, we are going to generate new text file with our results. Just replacing last part to print results in new file called output. And running the script again with F5. You can see new output file is generated in side panel. Let me just open it and see our final output. You can also see this output file in our project folder. So this code will create new output file at the same location of our Python script. Let me just put this side by side by dragging output file to the right. Adding more code to print our inputs and running script again. And you can see that output file is updated live. We forgot to add new line for area here, and now it's perfect. Now only problem with the code is that we need to keep changing our inputs in our script, which is not ideal. So now let's just create new text file using side panel. I am calling it input, and it contains dimensions of rectangle. We are replacing first part here. We are extracting length and width from this input file. This way we don't have to do any kind of change on our Python file. Running this script again, and now output file is updated. Let me put everything side by side so you can see everything. Updating input file and running our script again, and output file is updated. So you can use this workflow for almost any problem. Instead of reading inputs from text file, you can also read it from external program like Excel. Instead of calculating area, you can also do quantity calculation, analysis calculation, or any design calculation. Anything you can think of. Instead of printing output to text file, you can also generate Excel file or STAD model or AutoCAD drawing. Possibility is endless. I am not here to teach you programming syntax. That you have to learn it by yourself. Here is bare minimum things you need to learn to make your first Python program. Python has much more functionality than this, but you don't need to learn everything at once to make your first program. This much things should be enough to create your first program. You can learn this by yourself. There are plenty of good resources available online for this. You can use YouTube, read a book, just Google this concept, or use AI assistant like ChatGPT or Bing Chat. If you are still confused about what to learn, then feel free to send me the message over LinkedIn or WhatsApp. So now we have final working version of program. But how we are going to share this with other people? We can't expect everyone to know how to run Python script. Also, some users don't have Python installed on their computer. So to solve this problem, we are going to convert this script file into executable file. So anyone can run it without any installation. For this, we need to install third-party package called PyInstaller. We are going to do this by using pip. Pip is package management system written in Python and is used to install and manage software packages. Think it like adding additional functionality to Python. So pip is automatically get installed when we install our Python. Installing Python packages are similar to downloading apps from App Store. We are just using commands here rather than using user interface. To install this package, just go back to your Visual Studio Code and enter this command into terminal. Pip install PyInstaller. This is how you can install any third-party packages. Only thing change is the name of the package here. You are going to use this a lot with Python. Packages are made advantages of using Python compared to other languages. So after installation is completed, run another command to create executable file using PyInstaller. Run this command, type PyInstaller first, then space, then name of your Python script, again space, then double dash, one file. This will combine your entire project into single executable file. This includes Python as well as all the packages that are dependent on your script. Generating this file might take some time depending on your computer. And it's done. Let's check out files on our project folder. You can find exe file in this folder, which is sort of distribution. You can run this file from any computer by just double clicking on it. No installation or setup required. Let me just copy this exe file into download folder for testing. I am also adding input file here. My download folder has too many files right now. Let me just move this into separate folder. Let's just check our input file first. Close it and just double click on exe file to run our Python script. When you're running it for the first time, it might take few seconds, and now our output file is generated. Let's just change inputs on our input file first and run our script again. And now output file is updated. So this is it. I really hope you will make good use of this tutorial to create your first program. Feel free to share your project with me once it's completed. I will be happy to review it and share my feedback. Okay, bye and happy coding.